Today's show is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Your online activity should not be public. Protect yourself at expressvpn.com/inside.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily for Friday. So here's a scary question for Friday. Get a little spooky going into the weekend. Since we all need a little more fear and uncertainty in our lives, could Nintendo be the target of a hostile takeover? Tonight on Dateline Gaming.
Oh no, Mario is being threatened by evil shareholders. He's a plumber. Corporate intrigue is not his forte.
The coastal elites are coming after my good hard-earned money.
Maybe he's the CEO of like Roto-Rooter.
Activist investors want the seats on my board. But yeah, it does sound like a crazy question, but right now Nintendo actually is being targeted by an investor group that's buying up a stake in the company, and they want some changes, baby.
Yeah, it's called Koopa Limited, Bowser Holdings.
Mario brand condoms? No.
Finally, a reason to use condoms.
Yeah, if that doesn't happen, if they don't get the changes, well, who knows?
Nintendo isn't the first video game company to be targeted like this, but we'll swing around to that a bit later. Let's talk about the Nintendo situation first. Just be patient with us, please. Recently, Reuters reported that a San Francisco investment group called ValueAct Capital Partners has built up a stake of $1.1 billion worth of Nintendo stock.
That is the jankiest name for an investment group ever. That's like the Dollar General of investment groups.
They don't even care. They're just like, throw four dumb words together.
They currently own about 2.6 million shares, or about 2% of the company, and that might not sound like a lot, but it's definitely gotten Nintendo's attention.
Yeah, in a letter, ValueAct wrote that Nintendo's future is bright, but they see room for more growth. See, this is how they get you.
Yeah.
But they want growth both in software and the larger entertainment industry. They said Nintendo hasn't prospered as much as some software companies. They specifically mentioned EA and Activision as the games industry has grown over the last decade. So you can kind of see where they want them to go.
Yes. Got it.
But in fairness, neither EA nor Activision made the Wii U.
ValueAct's letter also states they see, quote, room for Nintendo to transform itself into a broader entertainment company, more along the lines of Disney. Ugh. They wrote, we believe Nintendo will be one of the largest digital media services in the world, in a category with the likes of Netflix, Disney+, Tencent Interactive Entertainment, and Apple Music.
And Enron.
Yeah.
One day we hope Nintendo
Cool.
can ruin Star Wars 2.
God willing.
Yeah, over the years, lots of investors have been frustrated with Nintendo, claiming that they don't do enough with their IP outside of video games.
Meanwhile, the rest of the world has said, thank you. Thank you for not doing anything outside of video games.
Yeah, wait. They're definitely not doing an Illumination, a Mario movie, and a Universal Park.
But yeah, it does. This has been a complaint with Nintendo for a while from investors. They wanted them to get into mobile quicker than Nintendo did. It sounds like ValueAct is trying to push Nintendo along those lines to produce stuff like more Mario movies. There have been movies with Nintendo characters in the past, varying degrees of success, to put it nicely. These days, everybody's all about making new franchises, and Nintendo has one of the most recognizable rosters on the planet.
And in the last couple of years, we've seen reports that Nintendo is going to get more and more into the movie business. Oh no. As far back as 2015, people like Shigeru Miyamoto have said that Nintendo has been eyeing a return to movies. Maybe that isn't happening fast enough for investors. It's their money and they need it now.
They have a structured settlement and they need cash now.
That's right.
Well, they should call J.G. Wentworth. Just kind of bringing it all the way home. I have some weird stains on my pants. And so now we've got activist investors like ValueAct. They'll buy up stakes in a company in order to get ownership to listen to their demands or suggestions for changes. What is that, cocoa powder?
In the case of a hostile takeover, an investment group might use its shares to install its own people on a company's board of directors, and then they eventually kick out the old owners. They're not pleasant, but they are a fact of life in the corporate world, and it can sometimes happen to game companies too.
Yeah, in 2016, we saw CD Projekt Red, the developer behind the Witcher games, obviously Cyberpunk 2077. They made moves to defend themselves against a possible hostile takeover. They never admitted that it was happening. They called it all rumors, but they did sort of make various changes in terms of which stockholders could vote or which got more weight. Ubisoft also fought off a possible takeover from the French media conglomerate Vivendi. At one point, Vivendi had acquired 25% of Ubisoft shares. That became a really serious situation.
In response, Ubisoft partnered with the Chinese megacorp Tencent to fight off the takeover attempt, and Vivendi backed down. I'm sure there's no strings attached to that agreement.
No way that could come back to haunt.
Free money, baby.
Wait, why are all these dollar bills bugged?
The big worry here for Nintendo would primarily be IP control. No creative outfit wants to be told what to do with its IP. The idea of having an outside group come in and not only make business decisions, but creative decisions for something like Mario would certainly make Nintendo anxious. There would definitely be annual Zeldas and annual Marios.
And maybe on other systems.
So yeah, it's not really typical to see hostile takeovers in creative industries, because if you start that, then you'll lose like directors, producers, artists. What you bought is just a shell of what it was. You don't have the talent you wanted to acquire in the first place. There is some good news here for Nintendo. For one, ValueAct doesn't have a reputation for pursuing takeovers. Instead, Reuters reported they prefer to work behind the scenes with management. So unlike some others, it doesn't sound like they just sort of want to gobble up shares and immediately install board members and kind of start that process.
In their letter, ValueAct did not ask for board representation, but said that they could offer relevant guidance and experience to help Nintendo.
Have you heard of this thing called FIFA Ultimate Team?
2K20.
It's called a slot machine, and we think it would really help Animal Crossing. A Nintendo spokesman told Reuters, "We are aware that ValueAct is holding a stake, and we've been engaged in a dialogue with them. We don't disclose content of our dialogue with our investors." They don't kiss and tell, baby.
And in their letter, ValueAct, they also sounded all kumbaya-ish, saying that management has been, quote, welcoming to those who take the time to understand the unique Nintendo way. I'm sure Nintendo is more than welcoming with open arms this activist group of American investors to take one of their most cherished companies.
Have you considered giving Link a gun?
So everything sounds friendly now, but who knows if that could change in the future. And obviously, if Nintendo was taken over, that would have huge ramifications in the video game industry. Nintendo is famous for doing things its own way. Sometimes it doesn't work out spectacularly, and sometimes it does kind of also spectacularly, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can bet that that would change under a more traditional corporate owner.
Yeah, they provide a lot of creativity and originality for an industry that's kind of notorious for copying the last thing that worked.
Yeah, nobody else would have put out a Switch. Sony's done handhelds, but Nintendo is constantly, you know, especially on the hardware side, trying to do things like that. And yeah, sometimes it's a flop. Sometimes with the Switch, it works out great.
Well, I mean, like even the Wii, I think the Wii is essentially just an upgraded GameCube. The other two companies had these very advanced, like huge jumps in technology.
Yeah, and the Switch, they were just like, this runs on a cell phone CPU and friendship. And everyone's like, I will take 20 of them.
Yep.
Yeah, Nintendo leadership was actually asked last year about the possibility of a hostile takeover in response to a shareholder question. This was in 2019. Company president Shintaro Furukawa said they had not adopted any anti-takeover measures, but he said Nintendo did have the necessary systems in place to counter it should it ever happen. He didn't get into specifics. He did say that going forward, we will continue to investigate how we would respond to a hostile takeover.
So this has been a topic of concern for a while now. But meanwhile, Nintendo is riding high thanks to the Switch and the coronavirus.
Yeah, they're going to report fourth quarter earnings next week, and those are expected to be very good. That quarter was from January to March, and it'll include the first 12 days of sales for Animal Crossing New Horizons, and we're pretty sure those are going to be very, very good, considering how popular the game is.
Some analysts think that Nintendo is going to post earnings of $505 million for the quarter. That would be an 80% jump. That's huge. Basically, it would be a return to the profits Nintendo hasn't seen since the days of the Wii, the good old days.
So since mid-March, Nintendo's stock has shot up nearly 40% due to the sales of Animal Crossing as well as Switches, which of course was driven by the fact that lots of people have been turning to video games to stave off the boredom of quarantine. I wonder if it's working.
Is it working for you?
No.
Yeah, same. So business is booming for Nintendo, but there's one possible problem. Its slate of upcoming games is looking kind of bare. While there are still lots of indie games releasing on the Switch every week, every hour, I feel like there's 1,700 more games in the eShop. Animal Crossing is the last heavy hitter that we might see for a while.
What about Nikaro no Shinatsinta Sunda 3?
Redux?
Redux dating, like cat girl dating sim. Is that not outselling Animal Crossing? Gamers are like a furnace. We need to be constantly fed with that coal of new releases.
But like other industries, game development has been hit hard as staffers have had to work from home. We've already seen a bunch of games get delayed. That's probably not over yet. In another troubling sign, Nintendo recently said it will not be having a direct next month. That will be the first time since 2013 it hasn't held one in June.
Probably just don't have anything good to talk about.
Well, those usually correspond with E3, and they announce a bunch of upcoming games. And they were planning to do it again this year to announce their first-party lineup throughout the rest of the year, along with some 3D Mario games getting ported to the Switch to celebrate the series' 35th anniversary. But thanks to work-from-home restrictions because of the coronavirus, that's not going to happen. Also, I feel like without the public expectancy around E3, they probably have a little bit more wiggle room. Maybe they want to get things right. Maybe they want to announce things differently.
So basically, there's no word on when that next Direct is going to be. For now, Nintendo will just have to keep counting its money and hope that people don't get sick of Animal Crossing anytime soon.
I just had a big turnip sale, baby. I got money.
Yeah, no, pretty exciting things in Animal Crossing. I have another box I can stare at.
Right. That's awesome.
That bitch Carol Baskin's gonna die by my hand. Wait, I was just kidding. Why are y'all locking me up?
The fame slipped through my hands like water. But there is a silver lining to all of this. With all of us locked down, lots of people are doing a lot of gaming. It's nice to spend the end of the world doing what we love, and a lot of other people are doing it too.
In my